just kind of uncharted territory for the jungles as well, because Maokai, Sejuani, the Vi, the Nocturne, like things like the Wukong, Skarner, yeah, all taken off the board. So like, do you go for a Wukong ban here and just kind of go further down that rabbit hole, or what do you try and opt in for?
I mean, that's going to be the question. What will the first pick be? I wouldn't be surprised if G2 just go for an early Xin Zhao. Yeah. Maybe even AD carries are the priority. Thinking about maybe MF for Han Sama is something that he's shown comfort on.
Zyra has also made his way through the draft so far.
True.
See if KARMINE does.
Zyra, yes.
Orianna is the ban. So this is kind of saying to G2, if you're going to pick the Zyra, we have something up our sleeves to deal with it.
Yeah, I think you do have to go for the Zyra, though. The thing is, Zyra doesn't only open up just a strong jungler, it's the ability to go for an AD mid as well, which suddenly Caps can go for a Yone, try and make things a little bit more difficult for Vladdy in that mid lane. But we'll have to see exactly what they want to go for. Jace going to be the takeaway, which you assume is going towards Kana. He's played exceptionally on that Jace, has really been a thorn in the side of a lot of people, and now do you just go in towards a huge amount of the long range poke? But okay!
Is it the bot lane? Is it bot lane?
Maybe.
I wish fans at home could see what you were doing with your hips at that moment, Benny.
I mean, this is what Fearless is for, Dagda. This.
Benny was doing an incredible dance there, but that is sick. Yeah, and as we said, like, this has been the Kalista Target special from EMEA Masters. When they were on KC back then, it was like the Neela they'd bring out, but Senna was such a focal point for this that oftentimes it got banned away. So this is comfort galore for KARMINE Corp in this series.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of this draft is, and there's a Diana in there as well. I mean, I think back to Peanuts Diana earlier this year with his insane wombo combo that he was able to pull off. You know the potential of this. Yeah, I mean, but the play,
I know.
the highlights. I mean, yeah, it's exciting to watch, and that's the thing. You don't know where this Yasuo Senna is going just yet. So the fact that we're this deep into the pool and they can still bring out these flex picks. I love the Jax ban. I think Jax is so effective into the Yasuo at shutting that champion down. Get that one out of BB's hands and also potentially Scumon's hands, and don't let it into the game.
Well, the thing is, I think you still have to ban the Neela, because there is an opportunity, as you said, to now put the Yasuo mid, answer to whatever, if it is the Corki, whatever is mid, and then still have a secondary knock-up in the Neela, right? So I think you've got a lot of these big engages, a lot of that AoE CC that could become a real issue for G2 if you continue on with this route.
Right now, KC is very much lacking any form of frontline. The Cho'Gath ban definitely suggests that KC's thinking about the Jace top lane, something that we've seen Broken Blade use as an answer into it. So G2 is likely going to be expecting that. I wonder if they'll just ban away the Jace themselves now.
You've already got rid of the Gnar. You might as well pinch that top lane pool a little bit more. I'm trying to think of where else you could go. You could look towards a mid lane ban, but instead they're going to take away the Olaf here. KARMINE Corp, mid, or, I mean, the Yasuo could still be mid, as we say. So you might even want to ban out an AD carry like that Neela.
Yeah, I think right? They'll probably end up going for the Jace, and then I think Broken Blade is saying, look, I'm happy enough to just go for the Ornn blind pick if I need to in this top side. We still have good engage, we still have good follow-up, and I can just weather the storm against the Jace in this sort of situation. So I think they're fine as G2 to still go tank-orientated and play for a strong team fight instead.
Is it an Awu? Is the question. Will the Warwick come through?
I feel like you want to save the Awu for Ambessa matchups, no?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it's G2 that's been banning the Ambessa away from Kana.
I think it's just Ornn.
Ornn makes sense.
But into the wind wall.
True.
Yeah, into the wind wall is definitely true. Renekton instead.
I think that's fine. I think it's something that at some point will start to lose to Yasuo, but for a lot of the game, you do just bully the Yasuo out. In terms of the matchup into the Jace, it can be pretty rough early. But Renekton, very versatile, very strong team fighting, and when you look at the kind of comp that G2 has, so far, very well-rounded. They want to pair up an AD mid with an AP jungler, and we're going to get to see Caps' Yone.
Actually, the first time we've seen it this year from G2.
Worlds was the last time we saw it. Yeah. I want to say it was the HLE game.
It's quite possible, Veddy. But he definitely played it in the HLE game.
Yeah, because I remember the Smolder in that game as well. Now the question is, where are all these pieces going for KC? Ornn, Senna Ornn bot lane. It's looking to be the Senna Ornn bot lane.
Could be Ornn top. Jace mid, Yasuo Senna.
Oh, you're right, yes.
So Kalist and Targamas have played this combination together. Are going to be burst in a heartbeat. G2 hit taking to the stage. KARMINE CORP putting the Jace into Vladdy's hands over Karna's, which is a little bit of a surprise considering how good Karna has been on the champion this year. Hans Sommer has taken exhaust for himself, knowing that a lot of people are going to try and jump on him throughout this game.
The problem is you can only exhaust one. I think is the main issue.
It's the Diana. You exhaust the Diana when she goes in and you hope to survive the rest of it. Kalist running exhaust as well on the Yasuo in the bot lane.
Yeah, I think they're just going to end up playing through standard lanes, and I think the issue is if you end up going with the melee matchup in the swap, you just don't get as many auto attacks off in the turret before the wave dives. So oftentimes when you have melee matchup spot, people just try and avoid those situations and just opt in towards the bog standard lanes. But it's going to be interesting because you do have to play hyper aggressive as Kalist into this matchup to try and trade effectively with Hans Sommer, otherwise you just end up getting pushed in consistently. So you kind of need Yike to be teetering around this bottom side of the map, but you may not get that opportunity because Diana doesn't do so hot in the early stages of the game. She kind of wants to farm to level 6, so I'm curious how much pressure Skewmon puts onto the bot lane. You can see him starting on the top side, already eyeing up moving to this bottom lane.
Labrov running the sweeper in the lane as well to try and gain control of these bushes. Has already used it, I believe, so won't have it for this ward. I was trying to harass in, but it's going to be a very difficult lane for Kalist and Targamas unless they manage to get some of that early leads. Yasuo obviously looking for that first item really before he starts to take off. Hans Sommer with the extra ability to reposition with the Valkyrie makes it hard for the wind wall to have as much effect as it would against a low mobility AD carry.
Like the bullying that Targamas is doing to give them access to the wave, this level 2 is going to be super important. Secured there by KC. But now you have a lot of damage available with this Corki Leona bot lane. I mean, you want to go real old school, like Corki Leona back in the day, Season 1, Season 2 was a powerhouse bot lane, and you're going to see why.
Zenith played into the Shield of Daybreak stun. You can see Last Embrace going back onto a Labrov for a little bit of CC back and a little bit of damage, but Kalist's already down at half HP.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world though. You have both the Senna to heal you, you have the second wind you're probably opting in towards, plus that Doran's shield, so you're going to be completely fine. I was also trying to keep my eye on exactly what Skewmon was up to. He went from Wolves into his bottom side, is now clearing back up towards the top, was spotted just before the ward disappeared on his Raptors, so for KC, they are well aware that Skewmon is moving top side, so it could be Yike just trying to put some pressure down on the spot lane to open up Kalist and Targamas to crash the wave and look for an early reset.
Look at how quickly both junglers are zooming through their clears. I mean...
Sorry, Targamas finishing pre-330 after he went Wolves into walking all the way down to his bot side is actually crazy. Zyra's clear is just insanity in the early game, and if she gets a little bit of time later on, we'll see Skewmon looking for those invades, sealing away camps. Yike is down towards the bottom side here, putting a ward on the Razorbeaks. Skewmon didn't actually ward, is instead just going to go and take this Scuttle Crab.
I think it was more for Skewmon just to say, hey, look, I have some spare time. I'm just going to sit on this mid lane and see if I can make anything happen. But you can see Vladdy hugging that bottom half of the lane because they spotted that Skewmon had retreated back to that top half of the map. But now you can see Kalist and Targamas, decent push on bot. And Targamas just going to see if he can take some chip damage on the turret, but it's not too bad in the grand scheme of things.
Targamas doing a good job on the center overall, getting those extra auto attacks down just to keep the Leona in a position where she's not quite as comfortable. It's always really important because you know then if she does engage, quite a lot of damage down back onto her. Caps going in here. Vladdy's going to trade onto him. Caps is in for a world of hurt. 150 HP left on him. Vladdy does tank up a single tower shot.
Vladdy just didn't quite have enough mana to actually get that E-proc off. I think he was hoping with a couple of more of those auto attacks that he'd regain the mana in that hammer form and be able to take the play, but not quite. Still, Cap's going to be fine. But I think it's sick to see the value of Kalist and Targamas having all this experience in EMEA Masters now coming out onto the main stage against G2. Like, this is a composition that they've run very successfully in the past. This was kind of the big pocket pick for Targamas in EMEA Masters, and you can see how comfortable they are in this. They're playing into what is a pretty decent lane from Hans Sommer and Labrov. Like, there's a lot of kill threat there, but they're just able to navigate it so well and understand the limits of these two together.
I think the other thing that both bot lanes are very aware of is how quickly these junglers can clear and take wrong trade at the wrong time a jungler can very much swing the dynamic of this 2 versus 2. Vision is very crucial, as both supports already roaming out onto the map. Cap's doing what he often does and continuing to trade at the limit, but nice advantage already gained for Vladdy in the 1v1.
Let's jumping forward here onto Hans Summer. Targamas on his way around. Kalist took the wrong side of that trade. Does have a Vamp Scepter and obviously the Piercing Darkness as well from Targamas to heal him up. Targamas has gone for the Grasp center build to give himself a little bit more tankiness in the lane. Skewmond working his way around here. Was spotted on a ward in the Tribush, and Yikes in the area as well.
I also think it's nice to opt in towards the Black Cleaver build here because, oh, hang on.
Zenith Blade hits onto Kalist. It's going to take a bit of damage as well. Phosphorus Bomb was stopped. Skewmond did come in from the side as well, but in the end, Kalist is going to be fine. Can just farm under the tower.
Yeah, because traditionally you have your AD carry to provide the I'm going Glass Whisper, I'm going to have that tank shred, I'm going to be able to open up for everyone else who's gone these AD builds, but you don't really have that opportunity when it comes towards the Yasuo. So instead, you can have Targamas go for the Black Cleaver, and because you're Senna, your auto attacks double stack the Black Cleaver, so it ends up stacking to that 5 very, very quickly. So I think that's what Targamas is probably going to opt for in this game.
Yeah, you can stack super quickly with the Black Cleaver and the Q, the Piercing Darkness as well. You can get 5 stacks basically immediately if you time it properly.
Dragon seems to be the point of contention between both teams. Caps is first into the river, but Vladdy is short to follow. In terms of early damage, I think that once Kalist gets level 6, that's when KC should feel a lot more confident about actually going for a fight. Yike is very close to ticking over to that level. But
I thought he was meant to hit it off that grub, or off the Skull Crab, and I was like, this is a little dangerous for G2.
Skewmond now making his way towards the Raptors. Yike. Hang on.
Yike can look for this. He goes, gets the level 6, flashes forward. Skewmond's going to flash away, but Vladdy's there for the chase. Caps dives in, looking to seal the fates of Vladdy and Yike, and with Broken Blade moving first. The flash back from Caps as he tries to get onto Vladdy. No summoner on Vladdy. He's down for first blood. Yike caught up as well. Flash with the Ruthless Predator stun, and Yike tries to escape, but the shield is not enough. G2 find 2 in the mid lane.
The roam from Broken Blade clutch there, plus the fact that Skewmond ends up creating so much distance with Caps able to lock them down. G2 win out on the skirmish, and the Void Grubs are their prize.
I like the confidence from Yike and Vladdy to
Targamas not under tower here. Last Embrace is going to land onto Lavrov. Kalist still only level 5, about a quarter of the way before he gets to 6.
But I was saying that I like the confidence from Yike and Vladdy to try and punish Skewmond. That, as you rightly said, the fact that Broken Blade could collapse, turning this into a 2 versus 3. I mean, you look at the lane, and it's awkward for Kana to really offer any assistance. He's pushed underneath his tower. A good ulti from Caps, rather, buys enough time to allow for Broken Blade to arrive. The Caps commit, the Caps flash to set up for Broken Blade to get that initial kill, and then Broken Blade responds with a flash of his own.
Even the Q3 from Caps catching Yike is the reason that Yike dies at the end. Caps' positioning in that fight was absolutely sublime. Now 1-0-1, about a 400 gold lead for him in the mid lane, and Vladdy without flash becomes a much easier target for Caps. As soon as that fate sealed is back up, Vladdy has to be very careful.
It also takes a lot of the threat out from Yike not having that flash as well. So now for a potential dragon fight, you're like, great, Sansama, I can flash away, keep myself safe, and it gives you a lot of ease of escape in these scenarios. So I think for KC now, they kind of have to give up dragon as well. So now you're losing both objectives in the early stages, plus the kills going across. And we've kind of seen across these 2 games, the team that starts the snowball rolling can very quickly get out of control.
These teams very good at utilizing their gold lead. We saw about a 5,000 gold explosion in 3 minutes for KARMINE Corp in game 2 for G2. It was a little bit slower of a roll, but still a massive lead when it came to the end.
And I think a huge amount of that is just because these are 2 of the teams with the best fundamentals in our league. They understand how strong jungle support are together, how to correct wave states and put pressure onto the map to get vision, to then take side lane towers. It all starts to flow very nicely for them, and that's where it becomes very dangerous, because if you're a team that's behind, you don't get many opportunities to bring the game back.
Kana's been doing his best up in the top side of the map. The matchup, not always the easiest. They'll reach a certain point where Renekton won't be anywhere near as effective, and you can start to see a little bit of why. Of course, the Dragon being started off by KC thanks to their bot lane prio and some resets coming through from G2. They're going to respond by looking to get some deep vision on the top side of the map. No grubs, of course, to be able to respond with. But about a 10-minute Dragon means that Soul will be a little bit later in this game. compared to what we have been seeing.
I'm hoping Seoul is like 50 minutes, but because both teams have taken...
say 5-0.
Yes.
But because both teams have traded Drakes and it's a real back and forth, you know, barnstormer of a game, Very.
Well, I know it's
what I'm hoping
150 minutes for Seoul.
Oh, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's break some records. Let's do it. Han Summer
I mean,
chunked
so
a little
far, Game 1 and Game 2 were both sub 30 minutes.
Yes, which is why we now
we
deserve
get a
a
quick
50-minute ban.
I see. Okay. Interesting logic. So you don't want to go home today? Yeah.
I'm good going home tomorrow. Do I get 2 day rates if that happens if we get past midnight?
I just feel bad for Mickey and Grabs because they were waiting for me to do the podcast.
They can just come up here, actually. Just have them on the
bring
desk.
them in. Yeah.
Fine. You can do a
tell you-
Euphoria episode.
If we're casting for 150 minutes, I might need to tag out.
That's fine by me.
You get your 10-minute bathroom break.
Yeah,
you come
exactly.
As you get old, the stamina, you know, you lose a little bit of it.
We've been doing this for a certain number of years, and you're just like...
Because we're in the prime of our youth up here.
Pretend. Okay?
Grub spawning in about 30 seconds as the trading in the bot side of the map continues. Of course, if you're interested in the center stacks, you can just look at the champion icon. 41 is currently what Targamas is on. Admittedly, I haven't seen a center in a while. I think that's fine for a support.
Yeah, it's fine. If I remember correctly, 80 around 17-minute mark, you know, you want to be like stacking it up as quickly as possible. The big thing is whether you start tracking your jungler through some of these next movements to get those extra stacks. It looks like because you have a Yasuo bot, you kind of want to spend a bit more time with him. So Targamas likely to be a bit slower on getting those stacks.
Reckless was the player I remember that a lot of
Yeah.
back in the day, who would just follow his jungler around. Of course, not the only AD carry to do it.
I do think, though, there is a world where you do have to start your own because you do want levels on Kalist, which is the other thing about Kalist.
Dodges the solar flare, just gets slowed by it. Han Summer walks past the wind wall, exhaust going down. Kalist tanks an extra tower shot! Kalist is down! And that's 3 kills now to G2. The feat of warfare in their hands. Skew1's going to get the grubs as well. This will be their second set of the game, getting them to 6.
He also flashed away from the shield from Targamas. That may have just been enough to save him. Would have been close with the ignite from Labrov there, but really unfortunate for Kalist there. Ends up falling, but nicely done by the G2 bot lane.
Oh, so at the very last... Oh, hang on, the top lane dive.
TP coming out. G2 will call off the dive. Call of the Forge God, though, from Kana as he makes a prayer, and Broken Blade is on the receiving end of it. He pops the Dominus, tries to get away, lands the stun as well. He'll go back in. Skewman using his old ultimate for a little bit of CC. Cap's going to try and get away from Yike here, who does have an ultimate of his own, but for the moment, shouldn't be able to chase Caps any further.
So a bit of trading on the top side. KC finally get themselves a kill. But on the bot side of the map, it was very unfortunate for Kalist because he was very deliberately not auto-attacking either Hans or Labrov so that he didn't draw tower aggro. But Han Summer, he was able to clear out the minion waves, which means that before the CC ran out, Kalist was still underneath the tower with no minions to draw the aggro, meaning that he did end up taking that last tower shot, allowing G2's bot lane to get that 2 versus 2 kill. Of course, KC responding on the top side of the map with a kill of their own.
That's really annoying for the KARMINE core bot lane as well, because they were having a whale of a time.
Yeah.
They've already got 2 plates. They've been forcing Han Summer and above underneath the tower. They have now lost a plate in response, like Han Summer getting a bit more gold, but it was relatively even in a matchup that can be quite tricky for the Yasuo and the Senna early on. We talked a little bit about Targamas on this Senna, just it being one of his pocket picks, 8-2, I believe, all time on the champ. And even remember, he was playing it back when he was with G2. Him and Flackhead, that bot lane, having a very good performance on the Senna plus whatever bot lane they decided to bring out.
The Senna style was always a favorite.
Yeah, I love a good Senna style.
But unfortunately for Kalist, he's taken a bit of a horrific trade from Hans on the spot side, and now they're kind of been pushed away. Ike has to go back and clear his jungle, so this gives an opportunity to try and answer some of the turret plates that have been taken on the bottom side, although it actually just cleared off. Thought they might have been able to get one more, but Ike now making his way in. Skewman looking to cover.
The Triforce damage from that Corki is absolutely devastating. Yike will be able to get the smite on the blue, dodges away from the Zenith play as well. Cap's going to trade back onto Vladdy. The Dragon up in 30 seconds, but G2 just using the pressure they have in the bot side to gain control of this jungle right now. They might look for a little bit more. Yike dashes forward. Labrov goes in, the Solar Flare, the CC, the Shield of Daybreak, the Root coming out as well with the Zenith play follow-up, but Yike dives in with the Moonfall, can't get the CC down in time. I'm not sure Kalist would have wanted to follow in with the last breath of his own, and now Targamas and Kalist need the help with their mid laner.
They want more. G2 is looking to dive this.
Targamas is on the wrong side. Targamas is just dead. Like, he sacrificed himself to make sure his AD carry would get out alive. He does. Labrov actually dies the tower here. I think if he pathed up, he might have been able to get out in time, but in the end, it's a 2-for-1 exchange in favor of G2.
You're not the end of the world for G2. They're still going to be happy that they get the tower. They did overinvest Broken Blade's TP, I feel like, there, but at least they should guarantee them the dragon off the back of it. But as we're moving into this, I feel like people forget a lot that Leona can just flash Q.
Yeah.
Because we saw Lebrov do exactly this into Mickey when he was on the Poppy, and now again, you end up with Yike caught in the same position, but it might be Broken Blade now, Cos.
Kana has the call of the Forge God. Skewman does have flash, will use it to dodge away. Broken Blade has a tower a while away, but instead he dives onto Kalist, and Kalist is down again. For the second time this game, he falls. Broken Blade will fall for it, but he got his. He got his 1-4, never mind! Never mind! He just slices and dices, and KARMINE CORP are unable to collapse on him quickly enough. Kana's still on the chase. He will find him in the end. It's Yike that gets the kill. G2 used that time, though, to push through mid and to push through top.
Broken Blade getting that stun was so clutch in the end. So he ends up getting the CC onto Kalist right as Kalist got the knock-up. Meant that Kalist couldn't end up using the ultimate, get that shield and potentially escape after, but Vladdy now sidestepping galore.
Sidesteps everything. The Solar Flare, the banana combo from Caps, and now Caps a little bit overextended. Stumond is just around the corner here. We'll target with some bloody chase. They decide against it. Discretion, the better part of valor right there.
My Yone's flashing in the chat right now as Caps. Hey, even the best of us can miss those combos. Nice side steps from Vladdy as Yike doesn't know.
He does not know, and it's a Shield of Daybreak into his Zenith Blade. The Moonfall from Yike tried to get to the wall to flash it. Wasn't there in time. Lebrov takes the kill. Targamas has to flash away from Caps. The TP coming in now. Vladdy in the middle of them all, flashes immediately. The Zenith Blade for the follow-up into the Strangled Thorns. Vladdy locked up. Lebrov walks away. Battered and bruised, but still alive, and the same cannot be said for KARMINE CORP. Kalist falls again. 9-3 now the score.
I feel like this has been the story of the series. A neutral game that just balloons after a single point. That bot lane dive has just exploded the lead for G2. 5k is the advantage that they have spread across the entire team. Towers have dropped, jungle camps have been lost, and G2 are snowballing this game 3.
Yeah, you forgot hearts broken for KC fans. As bit by bit, one by one, they're just running into G2. They end up making just one pick after another. So on this mid wave, Vladdy. Good dodge. Yeah, we won't talk about the banana phone that's calling in the background, but as KC start to move in here, they think, okay, maybe we can start to make the play happen, but the shift from G2 is already in position, and then as KC again try to commit on towards this, Yike just caught out, isn't aware that basically the rest of G2 have come off of these lanes, and I'm not really sure what they were thinking with the TP, especially when you see Caps there. Looks like a bit of a desperation to hope
wonder
that
if
you
it
can
was
hold on.
just to try and help, you know, like it
obviously it was.
To try and help, but I think the whole sequence from Yike going towards his red was a series of unfortunate events.
You just cut your losses at that stage, right? And you say, hey, look, we lost Yike, we lose red, but now you end up losing 3 people off the back of it, and all this position on the top side, and especially with 2 minutes now until the potential Adakan being on the cards as well. This is not really KC in a position to fight because they've just been put so far behind, and that combo is just very lackluster at this stage.
And it becomes even more lackluster when you see a Seeker's Arm Guard for Skewmon. He's not as burstable anymore. If you jump onto him, puts down the Stranglepawn. Strangle. It's a chess move. Okay? Yes. Strangling pawns.
Yes, I know. I'm familiar with that move.
I thought you said prawns. And I was like, oh, seafood.
Prawns.
Yes.
New skin idea, all right?
Crustaceans, I love them. Put down the Strangle Thorns.
Yes.
Pop the Seeker's Arm Guard.
I will say, this series has not shown effective combos coming through, really. In game 2, G2 really couldn't execute their wombo combo. Now, here in this game 3, KC have started to, well, I say started to, are very rapidly falling further behind. And if they can somehow find an angle, maybe, and they're looking for it right now, it seems.
I think they want the call of the Forge God in a choke. Lebrov steps to the side, goes back in with the Zenith Blade, and Caps is there for the follow-up. Caps diving onto the back line, and Stranglethorns comes out, but doesn't really hit on to anyone. G2 have already killed off Yike, and it did reek of desperation there from KARMINE CORP. They saw the window, but very quickly defenestrated.
Man, Lebrov has been my MVP today. He has had a fantastic game. The immediate ult on towards Yike, so there's no follow-up for the people that are locked up by Kana. It means that KC can't really get into position. And now, G2, they get the return pick. They're going to get a tower, and it's off of Lebrov. Being just spectacular.
Broken Blade. Gonna ride the Rift Toad out here. Oh. Hey, yeah.
He's got the moves.
No, he's trying to set up a date.
Oh, no. He's got the moves.
So when you walk into the bar, you see them and you walk out straight away afterwards from the Rift Toad, apparently.
It's just the awkward where, oh, you moved into my old apartment? Well, this is a bit...
Anyway, for now, G2 in commanding position in this game. 7,000 gold ahead, 2 items apiece on all of their carries. KARMINE Core struggling to get there. They will scale up. Obviously, masterwork items are a thing, but how much scaling is there in a wombo combo when you're falling behind is a good question to ask. G2 now setting up around this Drake, should take it really without any contest from KARMINE Core.
Well, I mean, look, Vedi did highlight what Peanut managed to achieve in the LCK, right? There are always moments where you can come back with this composition.
True.
It's just that it's very difficult to find those chances because G2 are not setting up as like a big chunky unit. They're kind of playing for these quick picks in smaller groups that makes it very difficult.
That Kit Kat chunky
Yeah,
unit?
I was going to say. I was quite. I
What
wasn't
type of
expecting.
chunky unit is it?
Chunky, you know?
Like a corgi. You know?
Actually, Porky?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think of them as chunky. I don't know why.
Corgis are chunky?
Adorable.
As you can
comes to
tell,
mind.
this game is very one-sided, everyone. I can chunky, I would say,
yeah.
for a corgi.
Okay.
Little chunksters.
Sure. I don't
But
really
that's
see
the
how those are
millennial,
that
like,
much different.
puppy English
Yeah.
that everyone has.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah.
Oh,
I
these
suppose.
good doggos. Oh, what great
Puppers.
puppers. Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that tangent.
Yes.
Adakan is alive. I stand by the fact that I shared a fun fact where I believe that 85% of people that start Adakan lose the game. So there is no science behind any of
Yeah,
this.
I will say fun fact into a direct opinion. It doesn't really align in my brain.
It is very much
This is
an
my
opinion. Yep.
subjective, objective opinion.
Correct, exactly.
So you're saying if G2 lose this, they have an 85% chance
No,
of
if they
losing.
start
They
it
have an
themselves.
85% chance of losing.
And 60% of the time, it works all of the time.
Yes.
Correct,
Yes.
exactly. So, I imagine what they'll do is they'll fish for a pick instead and then utilize the numbers advantage to think, oh no, they've started
Okay.
it. Here we go.
And now there is a chunky unit, which means KC could actually look for that big engage that they could potentially go for.
I don't think they're going to find it, though. Yike is looking to see perhaps if Broken Blade oversteps. KARMINE Core have no vision on it at all, and it feels very much like KARMINE Core have accepted their losses here. Yike might look for a steal. Done it a few times in winter. Lebrov is positioning to make sure that he can't.
Okay, so they're the 15%. You know, that happens. But KC, they're getting closer.
Dawning Shadow.
Okay, they're not getting any closer.
They say the day is darkest just before the dawn. For KARMINE Core, it's pretty damn dark right now.
Lebrov is about to light things up.
And he is, jumps onto Kana. Targamas tries to flash the wall, the solar flare. Stun follow-up with the Ruthless Predator. And Targamas is deceased, bereft of life. He rests in peace in the top side of the map.
And Caps immediately TPs down to the bot side to prevent Vladdy from being able to get anything for himself as well. So G2 just continuing to keep full threat on the map. And yeah, KC just don't really get any sort of look in.
I mean, look at these side laners now for G2. I feel like KC have very few options. You would expect the Jace and the Yasuo to be able to try and match in the side, but the gold gap is just too big. The itemization difference is so significant at this point in the game, and that doesn't even factor into the fact that Hansama has just been quietly carrying in the background. 2 items fully completed, a 2.1k gold lead over Kalist. The Yasuo center bot lane really not providing much success here in this game 3 against G2.
It was working till it stopped. And as you say, almost 2,000 gold lead on every single player for G2, apart from Lebrov, who's only 145 gold ahead. Obviously, Targamas does get more passive gold, 95 stacks at the 25-minute mark, not really where you want to be, and isn't going to accelerate that any further because there's no jungle really for him to follow Yike around through. Another tower goes over to G2, almost a 9,000 gold lead for them now. And it has felt like the story of the series is it's even until one team wins one fight, and then it's really not even for the rest of it. The Call of the Forge got dope from KARMINE Core as they do look to collapse. Skumond with that Zonya's Hourglass will not get knocked up and won't be followed up on either. The wave, probably about 15-20 seconds away from crashing down towards this bottom side, but G2 don't have much more to play for. So they might as well just wait for it to come in.
Yeah, the thing is though, is KC, it's kind of, you got to make a choice. Do you just slow lose or do you go for the all-in play?
Oh, BB's been engaged on. There's the all-in. He's still got a false life. The solar flare went wide as well, but that's a tower to G2. Caps dives forward and KARMINE core retreat.
But that's both engages gone, right? So KC now have to just play it scared. Baron now up and available as well. It feels like G2 reset, immediately move over to that, use the last of this Atacam buff as they can. Broken Blade now trying to be a useless for Yike.
Atacam buff is about to expire. I think it expires in about 10 seconds. He can jump the wall though and manages to escape.
Needs to sync up with this team.
There we are.
Caps also sticking around for what looks to be the Krogs. They're trying to fish out every last bit of gold that they can before they commit to the reset. Actually, Caps not resetting at all.
You're also waiting, like Drake is up in 30 seconds. You don't have to force a Baron. You can see how that gold has just ballooned, and after the initial sort of jump for G2, it's just been a slow and steady. Eke out everything you can, deny everything you can
Caps
from
is sitting
core.
on 2,670 gold.
Eke out everything you can, why do you need a third item? Let's be honest.
Well, like, he doesn't have all the gold for that third item yet.
It's already
So he
full
does
build.
have to stay out to get the rest.
He's like,
right?
he doesn't want to sell his health pot, does
Exactly.
he?
Yeah.
He's full build. There's an item in every single slot.
True. Oh, ulti.
Call of the Forge God. And Summer flashes it. The Brob also still has flash. And that's the ultimate engage tool used again.
Wait, what's Caps going to buy?
There we are.
There we go. See, follow up.
He was just waiting for it. It's about time efficiency, Veddy. You wouldn't understand.
His AD carry did lose his flash.
The extra, yeah, but the extra 8 seconds it would have taken him to recall earlier.
Right,
That adds up over a game.
Also, he can't be responsible for what Hansama does. He can only be responsible
If
for what he
Caps
does.
goes Gabagee, Hansama should go Gabagoo, you know? Like, it's you
Right.
can't just expect him.
Completely. You guys make complete sense. Thank you for enlightening me. We now turn our attention to the Baron as G2 feeling much stronger than their opposition.
As they should, I'll be honest. 9,000 gold their lead right now. 3 items on Caps. 3 items on its way for Hansama. Only has that last whisper right now. They try and get some vision control. KARMINE core doing a good job of slowly stepping in as a team to deny some, to regain control over that area. But the problem is, you don't have Call of the Forge God, still for about a quarter of his cooldown. Kana is going to go in here. Bellows Breath, Solar Flare goes on to Like. There's the follow-up, but there's no last breath coming out from Kalist. Didn't want to fully engage. The lock-up onto Broken Blade and knock-up onto LeBrob. The Strangled Thorn's coming out as well, and KARMINE Corp have chunked out G2 enough to force them away.
I was surprised to not see the combo come through from Kalist. I think Yike hit 3 members on the back end of the fight. But yeah, no follow-up, which means that there's no wombo combo. Maybe they were concerned about committing too much, knowing the gold gap.
I also think it's a positioning thing, because you're funneling into a spot like that. If Yike goes in, he's past the gate out of their jungle, right? So then if the Stranglethorns comes down, the rest of his team can't really get in as well. Sorry, yes, Kalist. Because Yike went in and it would just be Yike and Kalist, right, on the back line. But it's hard to say, because sometimes you look at a moment like that, it's like, was that the one opportunity you get to actually get some of these kills?
Well, if nothing else, they bought a little bit more time for themselves. They pushed G2 back away from the Baron, so even if they can get a little bit more gold, maybe complete that extra item, it can make all the difference. You can see Yike very close to ticking over to level 14, but even with that level, he's still 2 full levels behind Skumond, who's just completed his Rylai's.
And that's the big problem for KCs. They just can't compete in side lanes. Caps is huge. He's got the level advantage over everyone. Can completely take over in the side lane. And if you send, say, Kalista aside to try and finish off this Infinity Edge, it would be nice, but he can't like go against Broken Blade. He can't go against Caps. So you're just caught where you kind of need everyone to play as this 4-man unit, which is just not getting those resources into the carries you need on KARMINE Corp's side.
For the moment, they have managed to delay the game. Still 3 minutes before the next Drake. That would be Soul for G2. A Cloud Soul for their prize of securing the first 3, obviously, but still a while before we get to that point. KARMINE Core just trying to deny as much vision as they can. G2 trying to place it, obviously, as Caps just continues to push out a side lane. And I feel like this is kind of where we're going to sit for the next couple of minutes before Soul is available, unless G2 decide to pull the trigger.
I mean, the scary thing about Caps now is even if Vladdy's defending, there's the real risk of Caps just tower diving him on the bot lane, and G2 can play with this pressure. This is probably where G2 as a team, feel the most comfortable. Caps sitting in a side lane, being that point of annoyance for the opposition as he continues to ramp up, only gets stronger. He does have a full level over Vladdy as well. Meanwhile, G2 is just setting up control and just making things harder for KC. This vision control, our observers are highlighting it for us now, how little KC can actually see, means that constant pressure of are they on the Baron is very real.
And it's the big problem with all these plant-based junglers is that you always have something that can check ahead of you, right? Maokai saplings, for Zyra it's going to be those seedlings. When you look at Ivor and he's got Daisy, it means you can very easily take control without actually having to face check into a lot of KC.
Right now it's just about patience for G2. The top lane is getting pushed in very, very deep. Caps is now grouped with his team. Another bot wave has been pushed in.
Yike dashing forward, Broken Blade looking for it. Yike was able to retreat in time.
And that's one of the blue trinkets just used into the pit. Now that's unavailable.
Vladdy is answering bot wave right now, and because of that, LeBron decides it's time to go. Solar Flare, Strangled Thorns, and Yike is done for. The Caps again with a banana combo. Get this guy some potassium, because apparently he doesn't have enough. G2 still find a kill, and they'll take the mid lane tier 3 from it.
Yeah, they get some iron into them anyway, being able to take down these structures in the mid lane, but for G2, it's just every time they're finding these picks, KC try to get some vision control back, and now they get to fall over towards that Baron as well.
Should be an easy objective, secure a single pick. There's no smite available for KC as well. The blue trinket will disappear. No vision available. I mean, it's going to have to be some sort of miracle. Can Vladdy perhaps steal it with a shock blast?
No.
No, he cannot. He tried, though.
It's also the problem with these plant-based junglers is they can put plants in the way of things like a shock blast. The Baron now secured for G2. A longer game, 31 minutes, but not in the style perhaps that we hoped for when we asked for a 50-minute game earlier on. I don't know if that Scuttle Crab survives or not. It does.
It does.
Yeah. A small mercy from Skewmon.
If it helps, Yike actually did it on the first Scuttle in game 1. He left him with 4 HP and then left, so they've got to balance it out, you know?
Makes sense. That makes sense.
Dragon Soul now on the cards for G2 as they're already in position.
Caps is...
Okay.
Oh, they jump in immediately. And his fate is sealed. Call of the Forge God going in as well. Now can KARMINE CORP find more? Broken Blade pops up at Dominus. Kano's on that front line. Strangled Thorns coming out as well. G2 looking for a little bit more poke. Kalist now going forward with that last embrace. Onto Broken Blade. The Drake resets. KARMINE CORP found a great pick across the wall. Onto Caps.
Kalist getting the heal up off that wave in mid lane as well, so KC feeling a little bit stronger coming in towards this. Skewmon has no ultimate available. Behind Sama playing out of the position to actually get engaged on.
Kana has TP. Broken Blade does not, and G2 will give it up. Yep. KARMINE CORP find a pick, they find the Drake. G2 didn't want to take more of the fight.
Love the decisiveness there from KC, using the ward and the brush to catch Caps off guard. They one-shot him with their combo, and with the numbers advantage, you can see how G2 kind of, I would say, panic react with how many ults they just threw out in the moment. And once things had stabilized, they realized we don't have any more tools to keep this fight going. Whereas KC, not only with numbers, still had some ults available as well. So G2 wisely back off, an objective bounty is secured. And I mean, the good news is that the deficit has gone down. The bad news is that the deficit is still 10,000.
But it's got to go down before you can win, Reddy. You take this. It's a minus 600 gold Baron power play so far. 1 minute remaining for G2, but you've really muted their ability to do too much now that Caps is only just back out on the map. You will be able to push through mid. You've probably got 2 waves to play with if you're G2 right now.
I still think you can do work as G2 though, just because you have that range advantage, and it's only really Vladdy who can clear these waves, so you can see them spreading them across the map, or Broken Blade going topside. But there we go!
They dive in immediately, the last breath as well. Skewmon pops his Zonya, Caps goes in with the face sealed, he'll kill off Kalist. Strangled Thorns on Yike. It worked once, but at the second time of asking, G2 were ready to jump in and immediately punish. Kana now trading with Broken Blade. Caps is on its way across. The Ruthless Predator from Broken Blade into the slice and dice forward. Call of the Forge God from Kana. Still lands the knockup. BB flashed the wall though and got to safety. The inhibitor in the bot side has fallen. KARMINE CORP trying to defend 3v5 now, and their first Nexus tower is already forfeit.
G2 continuing their siege. They know they have the numbers advantage. Vladdy forced to flash away.
Caps jumps onto Vladdy once again. They will get the knockback. Vladdy's still alive. Lebrov going in with a Zenith Blade, but he's locked up in the end. Vladdy is jumped on by Broken Blade. And now with the Nexus Bear, Lebrov and Co will go 2-1 up and be one game away from grand finals.